I hope all of you are doing well, fine, healthy, and happy in this stressful time. Now in this video, we are going to discuss about analytical exposition text. There are 4 things that we are going to learn about analytical exposition text today. The first one is the definition. The second one is the social function. The third one is the generic structure of analytical exposition text. And lastly, we are also going to talk about the language features of analytical exposition text. Now let's head over to the first one, which is the definition, shall we? What exactly is analytical exposition text? Analytical exposition text is a text which analyzes a certain topic or a certain situation. It also can be considered as argumentative essay. We can say it is an argumentative essay because the writer or the author of this text provides several arguments, evidence, and truth to support his or her opinion about that topic. So basically, analytical exposition text is a text that evaluates a certain topic, issue, or situation, but focuses only on one point of view, only on one side of the arguments, which is the arguments of the author and the viewpoints of the writer itself instead of 2 points of views. Now, that is the definition of analytical exposition text. Next up, we are going to talk about the social function of analytical exposition text. Okay, so what is the social function of analytical exposition text? The social function of analytical exposition text is basically to persuade the readers into seeing something or a topic with the same viewpoints of the author. So the author tried to persuade the readers into thinking similarly with them. They tried to get the readers to agree with their opinion and to see things from their point of view. They provide several arguments, evidence, and truth in order to persuade the readers into believing that their opinion is the correct one. Okay, now we are going to talk about the generic structure of analytical exposition text. There are 3 things that we are going to learn in the generic structure. The first one is thesis, the second one is arguments, and last one is reiteration. Okay, thesis. So what is thesis in analytical exposition text? Thesis is basically the introduction of the topic. In this part of the text, we begin to introduce the topic or the issue and the situation to the readers. We also begin to express and state our own opinion, our views, and our beliefs about that topic into the text. For example, if I want to write something about fast food, or maybe the overconsumption of fast food, for the introduction, I can say that fast food is one of the most popular food in our generation. Or maybe there are a lot of fast food restaurants around us, or maybe fast food has become one of our daily diet. For the examples of the opinions, we can say that fast food is very dangerous for our body. Or we can say that I personally believe that fast food can be hazardous for our body. However, there are several authors that choose to just ignore the introduction altogether and choose just to focus on their opinions. For example, if you want to talk about forest, some authors choose to just talk about their opinion, just to state their opinions instead of introducing what a forest is, because they think forest is a pretty common topic. Everyone is very well familiar with forest. Therefore, they need to just discuss their own opinions without further introduction about forest. Next up, we are going to talk about argument. So, arguments. What is arguments? Arguments is basically part of the text where the author provides their own argument in order to support their opinions. The author may also provide more evidence, more proofs, more sources, reliable sources to solidify their arguments and therefore support their opinions. If I want to talk about fast food like I did a few minutes ago, my arguments would be, for example, firstly, fast food is dangerous for our health because it contains many unhealthy ingredients such as the over amount of salt, sugar, unsaturated fat, and also cholesterol. You may provide further sources or further evidence statements to support that statement. Second of all, fast food may be the cause of many deadly diseases such as heart condition, more like cardiac arrest, obesity, and also diabetes. You may provide more sources, more evidence, and more statement to support that statement that I just said. Lastly, many records stated that there are a huge amount of death caused by unhealthy diet or the overconsumption of fast food. You may also enter more evidence, sources, or statement to support that statement. However, several authors choose to not include further evidence, further proofs, or sources to support their arguments. That is also alright, because as long as you have arguments that can contribute to analytical exposition text. However, it is recommended for you to put in more evidence, reliable sources, and also other proofs to support your argument. So, evidence is not actually mandatory or compulsory for you to put into the analytical exposition text. However, it is recommended to enter those evidences and proofs to persuade the readers into believing in you. And lastly, for the generic structure, we are going to talk about reiteration. Okay, now we have reiteration. What is reiteration? Reiteration is reinforcement or reinforcing your thesis. In this part of the text, you restate your opinion, but this time with the help and support of your arguments and evidences. In this part, you may conclude the text by restating your opinion with the help and with the support of your arguments. For example, based on the arguments above, we can see that fast food is truly hazardous and dangerous for our body if we consume it regularly or daily. So, reiteration connects your thesis, your opinions with the arguments and evidence that you have provided for your readers. Okay, so that's the generic structure of analytical exposition text. Next, we are going to talk about the language features of analytical exposition text. Let's go over language features. There are 8 language features that we are going to talk about in analytical exposition text. Let's discuss the first one first, shall we? The first one is focusing on the human or non-human participants. Basically, you need to focus on your topic of discussion. For example, if I want to use my previous example, which is fast food, I need to focus on that topic alone. I need to focus on fast food. Maybe in one of my arguments, I want to compare between fast food and healthier foods such as salads or other kinds of vegetables. I am allowed to do that. However, you need to stay on track. You cannot stray too far from the topic. You do not need to mention maybe the chemical compounds of the vegetables. Just focus on fast food. Now the second one is expression of stating opinion. This one is very obviously used in the first part of the text, which is the thesis, where you express your opinion about the situation or the issue in the text. For example, I think fast food is bad for our health. I personally believe that overconsumption of food is very bad in the long run. In my personal opinion, eating fast food in the long run may cause many damage for our body. The third one is using simple present tense. Simple present tense is used when you want to state general truth, general facts, and also habitual activities. In this text, we use simple present tense as general truth and also as general facts. This is especially important for the second part of the text or the arguments of the text, because those are the evidence, those are the proofs and the facts that we provided for our readers. For example, fast food contains many unhealthy ingredients such as over amount of sugar, salt, unsaturated fat, and also cholesterol. The second example is fast food may lead to many dangerous diseases such as obesity, such as cardiac arrest or heart condition, also obesity. These two are facts. They are general truth which contributes to the function of simple present tense. The fourth one is using time connectives. Time connectives are words such as first, second, third, etc. until finally. Time connectives makes it easier for the readers to see how many arguments that they are going to read, how many points that the writer provides for them, and how many evidence that they are going to discuss in the text. You can use time connectives like this. First, and then you provide the first evidence. Second, then you provide the second arguments or evidence. Third, you provide the third argument, the third evidence, and so forth until finally. Causal conjunctions are words such as consequently, therefore, so, and based on those arguments. Causal conjunction is used to connect our arguments and our opinion. Causal conjunctions are typically used in the last paragraph or in the reiteration because once again we are connecting our arguments and our opinions. And the sixth one is using emotive words. Emotive words are words such as terrible, horrible, horrendous, tremendous, brilliant, phenomenal, amazing, and so forth. These words are typically used to evoke some emotions in the readers. We need to evoke some emotions in our readers in order for them to see things from our perspective, from our view. Sometimes these words may seem like an exaggeration, however, it is required and necessary so the readers might feel what we feel about this topic. The second one is using mental verbs. Mental verbs are words such as think, believe, prefer, considers, and decide. These are the words or the verbs that happen inside our head. These words are especially useful in expressing our opinion in the first paragraph. I prefer, I believe, and then I consider, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the examples of mental verbs are I consider illegal logging as an act of crime. I believe that littering can do so much harm to our earth, and I think people need to be considerate of our environment. And the last one is using persuasive techniques. There are many ways for you to use persuasive techniques. However, the one that you can and must do in analytical exposition text is to provide evidence or to provide facts and arguments. Providing arguments is sufficient for you to persuade the readers into believing what you believe. However, if you want to reinforce those arguments, you can also provide more evidence, sources, and proofs. So, what are the language features of analytical exposition text? The first one is focusing on the topic, whether it is a human or non-human participant. The second one is expression of stating your opinion. The third one is using simple present tense. The fourth one is using time connectives. The fifth one is using causal conjunction. The sixth one is using emotive words. The seventh one is using mental verbs. And the last one is using persuasive techniques. Those are the language features of analytical exposition text. Here is an example of a short, simple, and brief analytical exposition text. Now, in the text studying a foreign language, in the first sentence, we can see that it is a thesis. It says, I believe that all students in all countries should study a foreign language. That is the belief or the view of the writer. We can also see that the writer expresses his or her opinion by using mental verbs, which is belief. The rest of the text can be considered as the body or the argument of the analytical exposition text. Except for the last sentence, which is, for all these reasons, I think that the world would be a better place if all students everywhere studied a foreign language. That is the reiteration or the conclusion of the text. As for the language features, we can see that it also uses simple present tense. For example, many businesses today deal with companies in other countries and they need workers who can speak another language. That is the example of the use of simple present tense. For the time connectives, we can see that this text use time connectives like the word first and finally. For the example of causal conjunction, we can see from the phrase for all these reasons. For the emotive words, we can find those words in the form of interesting and exciting. For the mental verbs, we can see it in the first sentence, I believe, and also in the last sentence, which is the word think. I think that the world would be a better place if all students everywhere studied a foreign language. And lastly, using persuasive techniques. In this text, we can clearly see that the author provides several proofs, evidence, and also arguments that persuade the readers into believing their point of view. So, in conclusion, analytical exposition text is a text which discusses or evaluates or analyzes a certain topic, situation, or issue, but only focusing on one side of the argument, which is the arguments of the writers. The author tries to persuade the readers into believing what they believe, into seeing things from their perspectives. And in order to do that, the authors need to provide sufficient evidence, arguments, and proofs in order to boost their own opinion and for the people to believe what they wanted to believe. Okay everyone, so that was everything that we need to know about analytical exposition text. I think that's all from me. Thank you for watching. I hope that this will be useful for you in the future. See you next time.